Shalom, family. Just coming on for a few minutes to bring another edition of Spiritual Food for Thought. Hope all finds you well this time in spite of the things that we may be dealing with. But the Father promised not to allow anything to come up on us that He hasn't equipped us to deal with by the power and through the power of His understanding, which is the spirit of His Ruach, that causes us to understand that we was created with a purpose. And ultimately, our purpose is to serve the Most High in obedience as we understand how He sees us. And this is the reason I keep trying to push family. We have to seek the Most High for ourselves, because in Him, there's our purpose. There's the understanding we need to give us the ability to overcome this flesh, the limitations of our flesh, which keeps us in a mind state where we're slave to our senses and our desires. Okay, so anything that lifts us up in our flesh, that's what we seek after. So the bottom line is, as we continue to be born and birthed of His Spirit, family, we understand it ain't about our desires to come into this world and just have a good old time and achieve everything we want to build ourselves up. The bottom line is, family, we was created to serve the Most High Power, our Elohim, that He be lifted up in our lives as we understand our place and our purpose within His divine order, which is something we can't know of unless He reveals it to us through His Spirit. As I said, we got to understand, family, that Yeshua was an example of what and who we really are, but we don't realize it because we ain't born of the Spirit. And this is what the Father desires to do at this time, is to birth us in the Spirit as He gives us an understanding of self. So it causes us to see ourselves through the eyes of our Elohim. And as we see ourselves through His eyes, this is when we come to begin to understand our purpose, His direction for our lives, and understand the reality, family, that all He ever wanted us to be is ourselves, but with the understanding of His mind. He didn't mean for us to be like somebody else or mimic somebody else or desire somebody else's gifts and talents and all of these things, because He made us all unique with a purpose that only we could fulfill that purpose in us for His will for our lives, and the reason why He even chose to create us, to be an expression of His love, obviously, to all of creation. Because the bottom line is, family, He's doing away with the spirit of pride, which is the spirit of Hasatan, in the lives of those who desire to be delivered. As I said, the baptism of the Holy Spirit is not going to just drop in your lap, but the bottom line is you have to be desiring and searching and seeking the Most High Power to receive His Spirit. And so the bottom line is, if we don't realize that, because this world keeps us so occupied with foolishness and things that really are irrelevant at this time. And so we need to understand the Father's perfect will for our lives right now. As I said, family, the most important thing for us is to see ourselves through the eyes of our Elohim, so that we can become the servants of Him that He even created for and, desires us to do. Because if we don't know what the will of our Creator is for us, family, the perfect will of our Creator, then we're lost and being led to destruction. So with that said, family, first of all, before I get started, I just want to say, I'm not no teacher. I'm not nobody in no place of authority trying to tell you what to believe or what to do. The bottom line is, all of us have to be accountable for ourselves in the presence of the Most High. That's why we need to understand how He sees us, so we can carry on accordingly. And whatever things He wants us delivered out of our lives that don't lift Him up, He simply shows us the absolute truth of His desires and the oneness of His love. And this gives us the understanding to know that we're in violation of the laws of nature. Because the true sins against the Most High is the violation of the laws of nature that He desires to manifest in fullness, to bring about the oneness of His love and the balance and everything that the kingdom of heaven is, that's coming to this earth. In reality, it's all around us, but we can't see it because of the condition of our minds being made subject in this sunken place called this existence of the flesh. And so the bottom line is we have to be delivered from that. And the only one that creates, that's in control of creation, is the only one that can deliver us. Because outside of him and his presence, family, we don't even exist. That's why many people going to hear that. That's what the scriptures say. They're going to hear that one day, I never knew you. Because the bottom line is those is of the spirit of Hasatan, under the spirit of selfishness, and which causes us to deify our own self greater than the Most High power, because as man continues to choose his own way, because in reality, if we're not birthed in the spirit, that's exactly what we do in our flesh. And so the bottom line is part of the big illusion that we have a choice. And the reality is, as created beings, we ultimately serve the purpose and the desires of our Creator. So in reality, choice is an illusion of power that has driven us to be what we are today, what we've been for centuries or however long man has been in existence in this world. We've been under the spirit of pride since the fall. And the spirit of pride is the spirit of Hasatan. He is the spirit of fallen man's pride. And that's what we need to get. Because as we begin to understand that, we also begin to realize that the Most High Power, our Creator, is the only one that could deliver us from this selfish nature that we exist in our fallen nature. Okay? So, with that said, family, what I wanted to touch on a bit is, okay, we got to start looking and trying to understand that there's two wills, okay? We got the perfect will of Yah, but we also have the permissive will of Yah, the Most High Power. In order to have an idea of what's going on, family, we have to first understand, like, what is the perfect will of the Most High? Well, the purpose of the will of the Most High, the perfect will, is that will of the kingdom of the Most High, the kingdom of heaven. Because this is an existence where, because of the divine love of our Creator, all of his creation is able to operate according to the divine order that he desired in the first place. It's where all of his creation is full of the knowledge of him. And that's what the kingdom is going to be about. As we're filled with the knowledge and the wisdom of the Most High through his spirit, family, it's going to cause us to become one with the Father, ourselves. Then we'll be able to be one with each other, because as we understand the Father's love for each of us, we're willing to accept ourselves. Well, the world continuously tries to show us and convince us that we're lacking. But yet, it's not really lacking. What we're lacking is an understanding of our position with the Most High. Because the spirits of darkness, or Hasatan, convince us that we need the things of this world. Okay, and that's the realm of his permissive will. It's the realm where the Father is playing out the process of creation, where his creation has to experience good and evil in order to ultimately come to a full understanding of our purpose in him and why he even made us, but yet how he chose to create us through the experience of this existence, that he may prove those who are his, that he imputed his righteousness to, and that's those who are being born of the Spirit. Because to be birthed in the Spirit is the imputed righteousness of the Most High. It ain't nothing we did and stuff like that deserve that, but this was his choice. You know, all of those that are to inherit the kingdom, the Most High has already made that choice. It's just that those who he's chosen are walking out the process of their salvation, because your salvation does not exist until what? One day we get to hear them words. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter to the joy of your master. That's our creation process being complete. And so the bottom line is we must understand that our salvation is a process. And the Most High uses this process of our fallen nature in this darkness, okay, that ultimately, as he brings forth the truth of his understanding, and that's the oneness of his love for all creation, where we walk in a spirit of love and harmony, and we walk in a spirit where we see and understand that we are to serve the Most High according to his will, his perfect will. And so the bottom line is, just like Yeshua came into this world to serve, because he came in to serve, to show us how to serve. And the only way we truly can serve is in the spirit of his divine love and understanding that we understand what we are and aren't to do according to the season that we in. Okay? This is the beauty of what the Spirit does. This brings us to an understanding that we understand the will of our Creator for each of us, so we're able to be ourselves, which was his only desire, for us to be ourselves, but with the understanding of his mind. Because he made all of us with a purpose and a plan. It's things that, it's things that you can do, but your neighbor can't do. It's things that you can do and I can't do. It's things that I can do that you can't do. The point is just trying to make the understanding, family, we are all unique in him. And we all have a purpose, a place to fit, okay, a spot to occupy, okay. And the bottom line is the flesh keeps us out of order. We try to occupy space that ain't ours to possess, okay, because as we caught up in this spirit of self-awareness that's separated from the perfect will of the Creator, we become our own Elohim. And all we doing is deifying ourselves under the spirit of religion. Okay? And what religion is man's thought process that causes him to justify his existence without being subject or understanding the perfect will of the Most High Power, our Creator. So we walk in a spirit of self-righteousness. So it justifies us continuing to live like we've been living under the slavery of this world through our own self-awareness that's separated from the perfect will of the Most High Power. So we have to understand the difference between the Father's perfect will of the kingdom, where all things flows in harmony and oneness to create life or bring life to where we're bringing life to each other because of the call that he has on our lives as his children to be able to bless our environment, okay? Whether it's another fellow man or a fellow creature, the Mother Earth itself in which he brought us forth from, okay? That's the kingdom of the Most High Power. And in reality, family, is all around us, but because of the fact that we're enslaved to our lower nature, we see things in the flesh and we can't see the kingdom that's all around us. Because as the kingdom of the Most High Power comes forth from within us, it's going to permeate the love and the righteousness and the oneness of his kingdom eventually as the Father takes back this creation and bring forth the creation in fullness. Because this is the process that we had to go through to get the understanding that we need to be ourselves in him. Therefore, we can serve him fully in capacity in what he desired us to be. And that's to be a help and a blessing to those around us. As I said, family, religion got it all wrong. It ain't about coming to a place where you have people bowing at your feet and kissing your feet and all that kind of stuff. That's pride that desires that. The only one that truly has the desire, has the right to be worshipped is the Most High Power. And he's the only one that rightly has the right to rule his creation. And he simply rules his creation by the understanding that he gives each of us that causes us to play our part or whatever it is he's bringing forth. But the reality is, family, if we don't see these things in the spirit, then as I said, just part of the the spirits of darkness that's being used to try those who the Father has ultimately chosen to be and to inherit the kingdom of the Most High. So we got to understand this reality, that this existence that our consciousness is in right now, family, this is the realm of his permissive will. Because it's the permissive will is the things that he has to allow the spirit of good and evil to play itself out, to accomplish that what he truly desires to bring forth in the oneness of his kingdom. Okay, so we got to understand right now, family, it's all kind of stuff that's being allowed, but it's for the purpose that the Father would try the spirit and the understanding and oneness of his spirit in those who he's invested his spirit in. And that's those who are his children, those who desire to know the things of the Most High and to walk in his righteousness and realize that in and of ourselves we can't do anything, and that we need the favor of the Most High in order to walk in his righteousness. Because until we understand his mind in season, we're not able to do that. Okay, the bottom line is Most High said, I ain't sharing it. He's not going to share his glory with another man, a man. See, because the bottom line is, see, man in his fallen nature is his own Elohim, period. And as I said, one of the reasons that we keep walking that way, because as I said, the illusion of choice. And as we think that we got choice, we've been taught that. That's come from word of mouth, okay? And the reality is, how can a created being choose anything other than what he was created to choose? As I said, family, we're in the story, the play of creation, the Father's creation. And so the bottom line is what we're dealing with is the process of being born and reshaped and have our thinking changed. Because the bottom line is, as in our flesh, family, we've been lied to since we came out the womb. It's really that way. And the only way that we can get on the right track and find our path to the kingdom, it starts with, as we seek the Father about showing us ourselves through his eyes. Because the only path that he's appointed to each of us is our own path. As we find ourselves in the Father, it ultimately is going to bring us together as one family in this earth. Because as we understand, the biggest enemy we got is our knowledge or understanding of self in the flesh that causes us to deify ourselves. We have to be delivered from the spirit of selfishness, and by the spirit become selfless. Because that's when we have an open mind. That's when we're teachable. That's when he can take us from glory to glory. Because guess what? We are as children before him. So we understand as his children, how do we serve him? And as he continues to teach us these things, we submit to his perfect will, because it's the oneness of his love for his creation. It's the foundational truth of the kingdom. It's the spirit of love and understanding and oneness. You know what I'm saying? Because this world ain't operating in that understanding. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. It's a spirit of competition and predators and everything else. And everything that stands against the righteousness of the Most High power. And so the bottom line is, family comes to the place that he can ready to do away with this. And the bottom line, we have to understand where we stand with the Most High power. This is why I said you got to seek the Most High for yourself, so that you can inherit what he desires, as he desired to express himself in our form. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, we all have a uniqueness that he desired to express himself through. He didn't mean for us to be robots and all the same, and the bottom line is, he meant for us to experience life. And one of the things Yeshua said, he said, I came that you have life and more abundantly. And that don't mean with the cares and the things and stuff that we possess in this world, but to even understand things from the understanding of his kingdom and what life really is. Okay? Because this life ain't nothing but a proving and testing ground for the spirits and the ruachs of those who he's chosen to inherit his kingdom, as he proves the investment of his kingdom that he's placed within us. The Father, everything that he creates has to experience or go through some type of resistance. So the darkness is the resistance. Okay? And as I said in the beginning, in the past, see, in the beginning, it said that in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And it said that it was darkness that was upon the face of the deep. And when the Father said, let there be light, and there was light, light came into existence. So the reality, family, light came through the darkness. This is the experience that we're having right now as he births us in the spirit. We was born in the flesh, sown in corruption. But at the appointed time that the Father chose to do this mighty work, he began to show us himself within us. And so as we have that connection with our Creator, family, the works of darkness begin to fall off of us. Because then we begin to walk in the absolute truth of his divine love toward ourselves, him, ourselves, and our fellow man and fellow creatures and Mother Earth and who we came forth from. Okay, so these are the things we need to understand, because until we do, family, we're just living a lie, headed for destruction, in our own pride and self-awareness, thinking that this existence is about us. Okay, as I said, man, I just have to mention that it's man in general's problem. But right now, where the Most High is dealing, Israel's biggest problem is the spirit of pride that keeps making us think that we're more than we are. And it is what it is. And as the scripture says, Yah resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. In other words, he gives his love and humility and all these things, the gifts of the Spirit, so that we continue to have that dialogue with him, because that's what's changing us. The more he reveals himself in us, we change, because our nature is being changed. We no longer live by the spirit of hearsay that comes from word of mouth. As I said, word of mouth is that other voice in the garden that causes us to wander off, to draw us to a place where we're being convinced that we are, that it's like Hasatan. He said, I'm going to be like the Most High. So the bottom line is, in our flesh, that's exactly what he is. And so in our flesh, we are tied and intertwined with the spirit of pride, which is what the spirit of Hasatan, that's the driving force of what selfishness is. Because selfishness is also anything that makes us worship anything besides the Creator, and who is the source of everything that we are and where we came from. So we have to be delivered from that spirit, and the only way to be delivered from that spirit is the Most High Power has to continue to draw us closer to him as he increases our understanding and the oneness of his love, that we understand that we can't even exist without the Most High Power. So that's what being born again is about. It's the experience of this existence that proves the reality that we are the children of the Most High, as we continue to endure the works of evil and darkness that's trying to consume us, versus bringing us through that to overcome these things by the spirit and understanding of his love. Okay, so understanding that, family, it's about understanding the difference between the Father's perfect will is the will of his kingdom, the coming kingdom of the Most High Power. And then understanding this realm that we exist in, and our consciousness right now, is the realm of his permissive will. And understanding that these are the things that the Father has to allow to play themselves out to bring forth his true creation, and that's the kingdom of heaven. Okay, which is what he had in mind the whole time. So understand, family, our born again process, we not born again when we confess with our mouth like religion teaches us. Now we born again as we go through this process of this existence ultimately, by the spirit of the divine love of our Creator, brings us to a place where ultimately we conquer at this existence and truly become what and who He desired us to be. And that's just like our big brother was that example, where he and the Father was one. That means they was in agreement. So through the Spirit, it allows us to see the desires and the understanding of the Father. So it causes us to come into agreement by His Spirit. Because family, we got to understand this, and then I'm done. But family, without the Spirit of the Most High, of His divine love, you can't love Him. And if you can't love Him, because He is the Spirit of love, so you can't love Him. So it automatically says that if we don't have the love and oneness of the Father in us, we operating in a spirit of self-hatred. See, the bottom line is Hasatan is the spirit of self-hatred, because ultimately he knows he's doomed. So the bottom line is there is no repentance for him. He was created to do what he does. So this is why it's dangerous. As we get caught up in our flesh, family, we operating in the same spirit of rebellion against the Most High. So we don't desire His perfect will of the kingdom, because guess what? As we are subject to that spirit of self-hatred that causes us to continue to chase after things that lift us up, and then things that make us feel that we're not a bad person and all that kind of stuff. So we seek after these superficial things without understanding the reality is, what did He accuse the Pharisees of? He said, you are of your father, the devil, and the works of your father you shall do. And so therefore, they were really under the same spirit that Israel was on. I mean, as I said, the northern kingdom, spirit of idolatry, which causes us in our flesh to put ourselves and our own desires above that of the perfect will of our Creator. And then as that's true, then anything that begins to challenge what we believe to be the truth and stuff, we're ready to murder them to get us out that presence. So the bottom line is we got to understand, family, this is our fallen nature. It's what it is. And it's us in our fallen nature has to be, that part of us has to be pruned or purged, okay, for us to begin to really understand what's going on here. And so this is why we must be birthed in the Spirit. So as I said, just, we need to think about things, okay, whatever we confronted with, okay, is this the perfect will of our Creator? The perfect will of the kingdom? Or is this the place where we are operating in His permissive will, which allows us to do things that's contrary to the perfect will of the kingdom? But it is all a part of the necessary process that the Father chose to create us and bring us ultimately into the absolute truth of who we are. Who we are in Him. So we can be ourselves in Him, and us thus be able to express ourselves honestly. And it would be an absolute blessing or something to the world around us as we're able to operate in the spirit of His divine love. So recognize where we at, what we're dealing with, family. We're operating in our flesh. We're in the realm of the Father's permissive will. Period. So all the deception and all these things have to manifest themselves so that He can ultimately bring forth the manifestation of His Spirit that He's imparted to those who love Him, those who He's chosen to bring us truly into the oneness of His love. In other words, to inherit the kingdom of heaven, where all things will be one. Everything will know its place, and all these things within His divine order, and none of us will ever step out of His divine order, ever, because as we're filled with the spirit of His love, family, as we understand His love for us, it makes us love ourselves in humility, not in pride to make us think we something special or something, but the bottom line, we are who He chose to make us. And everything that we need to righteously serve Him, He's already put it within us. It's just at the point in time it comes forth. So we stay on the journey. So we ask and keep asking. We seek and keep seeking. We knock and keep knocking. This is our journey to salvation. And salvation is when we get to hear them words. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master. See, as I said, another part of salvation, we got to be delivered from all these lies of Hasatan that we've been basically programmed in through this environment that we've been placed in. So we see ourselves based on what the world has told us we are. But to be birthed in the spirit, then we understand we are who we are based on the understanding of our creator, our Elohim. And as I said, Yeshua was an example of what and who we really are. And he came into this world and he conquered death. And then after he conquered death, he also delivered us from the priesthood of men, where we got to sit up under another person to find ourselves in the creator who got all our answers. Family, the people, men around us, they don't know themselves in the Most High. So what makes us think that they got answers to who we are in him? Family, I didn't create you. You didn't create that guy. That guy didn't create me. But the Father creates us. He's the only one that has the right to rule over us, and he simply does that by giving us the understanding that we have that causes us to act out the thing that we're in the midst of. So whether it's in darkness or light, that's all him in season. But the bottom line, we are being birthed in the season. This is why I'm saying we are being created right now as we go through the process of this existence to ultimately inherit eternal life. Okay? Or eternal damnation. I mean, it is what it is. People that believe they their own Elohim through the spirit of religion, that ain't done nothing but feeding our beast nature, and that's that awareness of self that's separated from the perfect understanding and will of the Most High Power, our Creator. So, family, with that said, I think that's about all I got. But I hope I said something that encouraged you, that caused you to question, because this is about us constantly questioning our existence, family. That's what the Spirit of the Most High makes us do. It causes us to continue to question our existence. And then as we ask the questions of our Creator, he begins to reveal these truths to us that we need to know to truly inherit his kingdom, to continue to grow closer to him. And just the drive that the Ruach HaKodesh or the Holy Spirit puts us in, we have to know and understand the will of our Creator for us, period. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, is as we all get that and accept ourselves as through the eyes of our Elohim, we ultimately going to become on one accord. And so the bottom line is we're going to become one family within this kingdom, within this perfect will, just doing what he desires us to do. And that's to worship him in spirit and in truth. And the worship, and as I said, the highest form of worship and praise to the Most High is our obedience. And it's only possible as we have his mind through his spirit. So family, with that said, I'll say one love until the next time. May the Most High continue to keep you and watch out over you as you continue to seek him for yourself. So with that said, family, I'll say one love and shalom.